The Gladius was in New York. Specifically, it was done, I think, around 59th Street, though it might have been, yeah, never. But basically, a white nationalist came in, murdered an old black man with a Gladius because he was black, for no other reason than that. As I said, most of the murders are race-based, and that's on both the right and the left.
So why? How's that political violence?
You murdered a guy because you don't like black people and you don't want them to have rights. That's political violence.
Where did he express that?
Well, literally to the police, like after he was caught. He specifically said, "I did this because I'm a white nationalist." Right. So yeah.
So all the black people who are killing. So you'd say Irina Zhurutska, that was obviously a political violence. An example.
I'm not familiar with that person.
Mandy,
or
good
that.
to see you.
Irina Zhurutska was the Ukrainian girl who was killed on the train recently, and he said, "I got that white girl."
I mean, that guy. If you want to say
here we go. Of course, when the shoe's on the other foot, it's never counted.
No,
and this is why
again,
the left wing, you guys are just so dishonest about this, and it just comes out like that. It's almost just too easy to draw it out of you. You've said that one person is a race-based political violence, and then the other person is not. Irina, that wasn't political, obviously.
The person who killed
Give me a break,
the Ukrainian
dude.
woman. I was actually going to say you might consider that race-based.
Oh, you might.
Violence.
You might. He said, "I got that white girl."
Well, yes, you might consider that. Again, if you look at the study that I sent you, it's
why, dude. You know, I honestly think that like that study that they all keep citing, they all cite this study about the right wing violence versus the left wing like political violence. They all cite this study. Like it's almost as if that study dropped just for situations like this. So the left could be like, "Oh, look, but my study, see, it says that actually the right wing are more violent. See, the study says so." And it's like, we're just tired of your lies. Like, you're lying. We all live in reality. It'll be like if you pulled up a study, said, "See, I know you guys think that the sky is blue, but look at the study. It says it's purple. See, actually, it's purple. See my study." And it's like, no, I could just go outside and look and see the sky is blue. Why do you guys lie?
Specifically has both the fact that like the reasons for committing the crime, but also the level of ideology involved in it. And from what I can tell, in the story of that guy, he wasn't part of any particular anti-white organizations. He wasn't a black nationalist. He was a guy that society failed at every point, and then it. So
he's a victim.
I mean, in a way, everyone's a victim all the time.
He's like the hungry people who are stealing just because they're hungry.
I would say he's batshit insane, and he killed somebody.
Oh yeah, and the white guy who walked into the place and shot the black guy, he was just fine upstairs. He was just your full
there's a level. So when, for instance, when the Nazi went into New York and murdered the black man with a Gladius, he was behaving logically from his perspective. It's still wrong. It's still evil. He's working on the wrong assumptions there. But there's a level of sanity that you would not find in a random homeless person who just stabbed the person in front of them for absolutely no reason and then said, "Well, I got her because she's white." Now, as I said, you can actually classify that under the framework that I have, and it would count. But it would also probably fit into the less ideologically motivated things, because I think the major thing with regard to that guy was that he was just literally insane, and his mother had to like have him kicked out of her house because like he became violent with her. So,
yeah, wasn't the guy's brother also like a criminal as well? So, unless it just runs in the family, this insanity problem. Yeah, I mean, that could be it, or maybe they were just all criminals. But yeah, but Jake is right though. This guy, like they do, like, oh, if this black guy does something, oh well, because he's a victim. It's because he didn't get the help he needed, and that's why he did it. He was crazy. He was insane. But if a white guy does it, nope, it's because he's just a bad person. And it's like, I like how they give like all this grace and benefits of a doubt to this one. But with this one, nope, definitely racism. Definitely. It had to be. No other explanation. It was racism. But when the black guy does it, no, he was just crazy.
So,
okay,
obviously,
look,
that guy's
okay, I get your point, but I just want the audience to know this right now, okay? What we are dealing with right now is the typical typical obfuscation of the left and how they contrive narratives. And he knows it. I know it. You guys all know it listening to this. They're not going, they're going, I let you speak, I let you speak, and you'll be silent.
All right, fair enough.
You'll be silent while I speak. All right. So the left-wing violence, they're not going to count people like Irina Zhurutska. They will happily, any white person who basically commits a crime, they're going to call this political violence. But then with Irina Zhurutska, I don't know, you know, society really hurt this guy and he really fell off the rails and we should have helped him more. But the white guy, nothing like that. They're also not going to count all of the violence that was done by BLM, for example, and the murders and the deaths that happen during left-wing riots and all of these different deaths that happen. This is how the left contrives narratives. And if you go into these studies that he's talking about, and if you look who funds these studies, oftentimes what do you get? You get the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, you get the Rockefeller brothers, you get all of these different sources of funding, and these people who are moderates, or at least they pose themselves as moderates, are really just left-wing activists. And it's the same with the DAs around everywhere. And what he is espousing right now is this exact same left-wing ideology where they will try and dishonestly contrive a narrative to make the right look worse when everybody can see it. We know we're being gaslit by people like Brenton. We know it. We can see it with our own two eyes, and the data crumbles just like that.
Yeah, no, we clearly are being gaslit by the left. We're clearly being lied to and gaslit. They have their study that just happened to drop. Yeah, look at my study. Actually, it's the right. But yeah, no. And later on, this guy will say, well, we don't really know everyone's motivations in this. But when it comes to the right-wing stuff, no, we know all of their motivations. We know everything we need to know. It was just because they're bad people and it's because of the right-wing ideology. But when it's someone that could be on the left, well, we actually don't know. Like, we don't know what's inside the head of these people. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah, if nothing else, call a man a liar. I will point out that appeal to motive is a fallacy. So even if something's funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, one, billionaires fund just about everything, so I wouldn't be surprised about literally anything, including right-wing think tanks like the Heritage Foundation. Those are also founded usually by oil money. Now, for the CCJL,
Dave, about Hassan. Yeah, I didn't watch the quarterings video, but I did hear he's trying to lie and say, oh, it's a vibrating collar. Like, I did hear about all that stuff, and it's just like, we all know he's fucking lying, and yeah, no, we shouldn't fall for that shit.
This specifically, it looks like it's from SUNY, so State University of New York in Oswego, or at least that's where the main researcher is from.
All those conservative universities, hey?
I mean, universities are slightly more conservative than people would think, particularly with regard to their economics programs. Now, obviously, criminal justice, I'd say you'd get a mix. You'd probably get some activist professors in there, and you'd probably also get some hard asses who, you know, really want to just stick it to the criminals. What I would like you to do is talk to me and not to the left. Because first off, again, I am not part of the left. I've disassociated myself with the left in 2015, and I did it because I felt pressure to say things that I didn't believe. I don't want team bias to ever infect my thinking. So I am not going to do things that will put me into column A or column B, because that just makes me dumber.
Dude, well, congratulations, you are dumber, and you are already in the column. You try to lie and say like, well, I left the left or disavowed the Democrats, whatever you just said, in 2015 because I felt pressured to say things I didn't believe. Oh, pressured how? How did they pressure you? You mean the peaceful left wing that clearly isn't as violent as the right pressured you to say things that you didn't want to say? Well, how weird for the side that's not as violent as the right to make you feel pressured that way. Isn't that weird? Interesting. Also, too, I've noticed this with a lot of lefties here when they try to debate the left wing versus right wing violence. They'll always say, talk to me here. Talk to me. You're not talking to the left. You're talking to me. I'm a person. Like, all of them try to position themselves as I'm different. I'm a moderate one, or I'm one of the good ones, or something, or what have you. But the debate is left wing versus right wing. So yes, there's going to be a generalization there, dumbass.
Now, if you want to talk about the left obfuscating things, obviously, yes, people can obfuscate things, but do you want to have a nuanced discussion or do you want to have a broad discussion? We can do either one. We just can't do both at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to have the broad discussion. I mean, look, we're having a discussion about political violence and the definition of political violence. And excuse me for thinking that you can't actually talk to leftists like you. So I'm trying to actually appeal to the audience here. Yes, I'm technically talking to you, but I'm actually trying to appeal to the audience here because people know what you're doing. They can intuit it, but perhaps they can't actually put it, like they can't actually see exactly how it's done. And I'm trying to demonstrate how this is actually done. And this is why people like yourself who will go, you can interrupt me all you want, or you can be silenced.
You are the enemy. If you're defending it, you're the enemy.
Thank you, Brenton. Thank you. Okay. And what I'm trying to demonstrate is how people like yourself will obfuscate data. And that example of Irina Zhurutska was the perfect example because that was a clear double standard. And then you had to backpedal because you realized that you realized that you had a massive double standard there because you assigned motives to one and then you assigned good motives to the other one. The other one was that he needed help. He needed help. But I think that the more
do you want
important
me to
thing that
say
we
that
should
the
discuss
Nazi
here,
also needed help
the
in
more
society?
important thing,
Because yes,
Brenton,
the Nazi who killed the black man also.
There'll be silence. There'll be silence in the court.
I want to give Jake a chance to finish up his thoughts, and I promise we'll come back to you, Brenton. We'll give you the same approximately 1 or 2 minutes to respond.
Absolutely.
There'll be silence in the court. Okay, so all I want to know, Brenton, is arson at political rallies, mobs attacking ICE facilities, burning down police precincts, vandalism, targeted vandalism with political motives. If all of these things are, in fact, political violence, where is this happening en masse on the right? Because all you've been able to give me is a shitty study that only looks at one aspect and also a few little examples, anecdotal examples, as opposed to all of the examples that we can give, which is when it happens en masse. Tell me, Brenton.
So first off, I'm going to point out that ad hominem is also a fallacy. And even if I was the most biased, evil person in the world who was just trying to trick you with all my fancy words, and that wouldn't make me wrong. That would literally just make me a bad person. And like, I'm not trying to be your roommate, dude. We're just having a conversation. Now,
so did he just admit that he's just a bad person? You know, because he's like, well, I wouldn't be wrong. I would just be a bad person. Oh, okay. So you're admitting you're a bad person then, and you're just lying.
Now, if you want to know why leftists or liberals and progressives, I don't really know who exactly is doing the Tesla burnings. If you want to know why they're going after Tesla, it's probably because Elon Musk was doing stuff like destroying Social Security. And to express their anger, they destroyed his property, which is bad and wrong. And I will denounce that from now until the fucking cows come home because political violence doesn't work. Yep. However, that is, if you look.
So again, justifying it like, well, they're probably doing it because Elon Musk bad, and that's why they're vandalizing the Teslas. That's why innocent people who aren't involved in politics whatsoever, they're just guilty of owning a Tesla. That's why they had to get their cars vandalized. That justifies it, and that's why the innocent Tesla workers that were just at the dealerships. That's why they had to fear being attacked or having the Tesla dealership firebombed or whatnot. That's so it's because Elon Musk bad, don't you know that? And yet this guy insists he's not a leftist. Sounds like a leftist to me. That's exactly type of shit that a leftist would say, don't you think?
When people are going to be violent, whether it is the right or the left, they tend to target different things because they care about different things.
I don't care why they do it, Brenton. Is it political violence is what we want to know.
Of course it's political violence. Jesus Christ.
Then you lose the debate, buddy. Because where's all the political violence happening on the right?
The debate is who has it more.
Yes, exactly. So tell me where it's happening en masse on the right. I really can't wait to hear it, please.
I mean, en masse on the right,
yes.
The freaking Trump administration is committing what is essentially a genocide in the United States.
Please explain how the Trump administration is committing genocide in the United States.
The definition of genocide is an attempt to destroy an ethnic or several other categories, but in this category, ethnic or national population in whole or in part. And the Trump administration has done two things specifically. Is one, they're deporting people from the United States without due process based upon their like race, not based upon what they have done. They will say that they did things, but then they don't go to court to prove it. And then the other thing that they did was, and this is in, again, the Geneva Convention's definition of genocide, they are stealing children, or they were at least back during the first administration, stealing children from their parents, which taking children from one group and transferring them to another group is an act of genocide. So yeah,
Jake is laughing. We are all laughing at you.
mass political violence is currently coming from the Trump administration, and that is coming from the right, because the Trump administration is a far right institution. They don't have the luxury of having to, like, the leftists don't have the luxury of having the state on their side. Now,
all right, cool. I don't need your life story every time I ask a question, Brenton.
Yeah, by the way, Brenton is very long-winded. He has that habit of giving these long answers. Anyway, so now according to Jackass Brenton here, the Trump administration is committing a genocide because they're deporting people. I didn't know that that's what a genocide was. Geez, the Jews would have been so lucky during the Holocaust if all Hitler was doing was just sending them out of the country, huh? Geez, who knew that just deporting people was a genocide according to this lunatic? And taking children and also deporting them, that's also a genocide according to this jackass. Make it make sense. Like, they could just change definitions willy-nilly that a genocide is deporting people. Also, too, this guy is saying that, oh, it's a genocide because it's a people of a certain race. No, it's people of a certain nationality, people that weren't born here. That if you're not American, if you're not an American citizen, that's who he's deporting. It's not just people of specific races. It's that you're not American and he's deporting you. And he's saying, like, well, they say that they've done stuff, but they haven't. Well, yeah, they have. They came here illegally. That's doing something. He's not just taking innocent people and just kicking them out of the country.
So when you're talking about that, then they called Obama.
But this guy isn't a leftist, guys. He's not a part of the left.
The deporter in chief. Was Obama committing a genocide?
I would say quite possibly. Honestly.
Okay, so then how's it happening more on the right than the left?
I would say you didn't ask. Okay. The overall question of how it's happening more on the right and the left results to everything, not just exactly what we're talking about. Now, specifically with regard to deportations, you asked what is the right doing in terms of mass violence, and I'm telling you the deportations are mass.
And you just said that the left also does that, Brenton. This is not looking good.
I said that the left deports. But again, the left is not trying to eliminate a national or racial group within the United States. At least I would hope.
So they had good intentions. Once again, guys, when the left does it, they have good intentions. When the left does it, they are doing it because they have good intentions. When the right does it, guys, we're evil. When the right does it, we're evil. Different genocide motives. Now, Brenton knows the motives.
So mad about
Brenton knows the motives, guys. James, seriously, I told you not to get me any prostitutes to debate with. Next time, can you also not get me any comic book people? Because this is honestly embarrassing.
Okay, so
he was so sure when he came into the
comic book person, and second of all, again, this is just an ad hominem. Can you just have a discussion about literally? I'm in here trying to relate with you, coming in here, being good faith. And all you're not
good faith. You can try and act friendly. You can try and act like you're all friendly. Oh, I'm friendly. I'm good faith. I call myself the friendly anarchist. You're not, dude. You're bad faith. You're trying to contrive a narrative. This is what all of you leftists do, and we're sick of it. We're sick of being gaslighted. We're sick of the gaslighting.
Not cool. Not
unjustified
cool at all.
Equivocation.
Okay, great argument, bro. Anyways, shall we move on?
I'm telling you, dude. Everything you were saying is literally like as much as like 2 + 3 = 17. That is the logic equivalent of what you are doing when you try to argue that I'm doing something evil secretly and that I'm trying to trick your audience.
I don't think you're doing it secretly. I think you're actually pretty brazen about it. And some people who might be fooled by this, but honestly, you said that there was a difference between Irina Zhurutska and between the whites. I know you want to talk over me because you're very scared because you're getting absolutely steamrolled every time you open your mouth. I know you're scared of me. I'm a Lord Rattlesnake, and I know you're scared of the Lord. But listen to me.
I actually really like
Rattlesnake. You said that there was a difference between Irina Zhurutska and the white supremacist. You got proven wrong there. That was not a good look, Brenton. You have to say it wasn't a good look. And then you said that there was a difference between when Trump deports people, and Obama. Brenton, it is not looking good, brother.
There are differences. Well, first of all, I love that the judge and the advocate are the same one. The guy who wants to win the debate is the one who's telling me it's not looking good, brother. Like, again, it's like just a bullshit tactic, and you don't have to do it. And you don't have to do it with me because, again, I don't have the time or the energy or the freaking spoons to deal with all this culture war bullshit. I am specifically getting down to brass tacks with you, and I'm having a real conversation with you, or at least I am trying to. Now, you can engage or not engage.
All right, I'm happy to actually take this to your home ground if you want. Do you want to argue about fatalities? Because everything else you are limp on.
Fine arguing
about fatalities.
Do you want to? I think are the most
fatalities. Okay,
if
fantastic.
you want to talk fatalities, we can talk fatalities.
Did they include the LA riots in your studies, and did they include the George Floyd protests? And if so, prove it.
George Floyd. I don't know if they
if so demonstrate
George Floyd, but they almost definitely would have if there were murders committed for racial reasons or political reasons during the LA riots. They would have included them in the study.
So you don't know if they included them?
I mean, I know that they specifically excluded the Oklahoma City bombing, so I'm pretty sure that they made sure to do their due diligence. How many people do you think were murdered in the LA riots?
63.
63. Now, was that 63 deaths or 63 murders?
Dead in the LA riots.
Okay, so not murder.
So this is political violence happened at the riot.
Okay.
Dead from political violence from the left. Okay.
All right. So first
Brenton,
off,
I'm going to give you a chance to retract that statement. If you want to, I'm going to give you a chance right now. I'm going to be good faith, and you can say, Jake, I retract the statement that the right wing is more fatally violent. I'm going to give you that chance right now, Brenton. You have 30 seconds on the clock.
This is the dumbest thing I have had to deal with in like at least a month. Okay, so first off, when you were talking LA riots, you're citing the dead specifically, supposedly 68 dead. I don't know. But I don't know how many of those 68 were targeted for political reasons. I don't know if someone was trying to pull like propaganda of the deed. I don't know if they freaking fell over or had a heart attack. Just like the right, or I'm sorry, like the Democrats always bring up that one police officer that died after January 6th, like, and he had like a heart attack. Or something so he was not a healthy man to begin with, and it was just sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. Now, I would say that death would not be on the MAGA movement, because unless there was intent to actually kill that guy, or they were negligent in how brutally they treated him, then it's not actually a political murder, even though it's happening in the Capitol, because murders can happen for all sorts of situations and all sorts of contexts. So yeah, like I said, you need to get, if you want to talk murders, and if you want to talk like specifics, you've got to get very specific and find out like who did the killing, why did they do the killing, can we believe them, and how strongly did their political ideology inform this action. That's going to tell you, that's going to help you get a feel for exactly like where the violence is coming from, where the most significant violence is coming from.
Okay, now, I think I've been pretty good faith. Let you talk for a little while here, Brenton. I want you to just answer me this question, okay? Mm-hmm. Why did you say that they included the LA riots when you didn't know that?
Okay.
Why did you lie?
So again, I didn't. You're putting words in my mouth. And second of all, that's the kind of question like, when did you stop beating your wife? It's called begging the question. You're assuming the answer is true in the premise.
How's it begging the question? Please explain that to me. Explain how I'm begging the question here. When I just ask you a question, you answered the question.
Okay, so repeat the question to me, and I will point out exactly what you're doing.
Okay, at the start of this debate, I asked you, Brenton, did they include the LA riots in this study that you're talking about? You said yes, they did.
I said
I didn't say Brenton. Mm-hmm. I didn't try and beg the question and say they did. I'm assuming that you're lying about this.
No, that's
I just said Brenton did they. I asked you a good faith question.
So when you frame the question in why did you do this bad thing that you definitely did, which by the way, I don't recall saying that, or if I did, I possibly misspoke, because that's a thing that can very easily happen.
Well, wait. So if you did say that, then I would be right. So that I'm not begging the question.
No, you'd still be begging the question, because you're assuming the answer.
I'm not assuming. You lied. I'm not assuming that you lied. I saw you lied.
Okay.
Saw you lied.
Yeah. Okay, dude. Like, First off, that's not a lie. Second of all,
I'm pretty sure that's a lie. I'm pretty sure you said something that wasn't true and you knew it wasn't true.
Hang on.
Pretty sure that's a lie.
Said that I knew it wasn't true.
I would have been sent to my room for that as a child.
Most likely what I said, or at least what I intended to say,
I would have been sent to bed early. I couldn't watch Australian Idol.
And in fact, I think I tried to say that, and then you cut me off. If there were racially or politically motivated murders during the LA riots, well, the LA riots happened during the 1990s. This study covers the 1990s to 2000. So obviously that would be included in the study. So if they didn't include it in the study for whatever reason, take that up with them. But like at this point, that's not really relevant because they could have included or not included anything. There could be exceptions. I'm sure there are.
So interesting, Brenton. I mean, in that study that you're saying, I think there are only about 78 deaths that are included from left-wing violence. But with the two riots alone, the George Floyd protests and also the LA riots, there's about 90 deaths. So
the deaths are not necessarily.
So your study is, I mean, Brenton, it wasn't going well for you before when we were looking at the matter of political violence, the broader spectrum of political violence was not going well for you. And I've actually been so kind to you, Brenton. I have literally held your hand and walked you across the road. And now we're on your home turf, which is deaths. And your deaths statistics are also completely astroturfed.
Please explain to me how every single death that happens during a riot is a politically motivated death.
So these riots were done by the left. They were rioting in the streets and all of these deaths happened. Now, do you think that they would be including the deaths if there was deaths at J6 or if there were deaths at Charlottesville? Do you think that they would be including them in politically motivated deaths?
It depends upon the specific study, but I would assume that they would.
You best believe they would. Thank you, Brenton.
But again, what you're doing is this is a hasty equivocation. Just because someone dies in the vicinity of a riot or even as part of a riot does not mean that they're part of the left. And it does not mean that they were killed for political reasons. That people can have accidents. People can just die for no reason whatsoever. That again, as I pointed out, that I don't think that the death of the police officer at the Capitol riots, like on January 6th, who had the heart attack or the heart condition or whatever, like I don't think that that is necessarily a politically motivated killing. I don't think the J6ers were trying to kill that guy. And I'm not, I didn't see the confrontation, but I'm not sure if whoever happened to be there was behaving particularly negligently or not. I don't know.
Yeah, well, why would you include that officer in the deaths, like a political death? I mean, no one was trying to kill him. Like, no one killed him at the rally or anything. Like, he died of a heart attack the next day. So yeah, there should be no reason anyway why you should include that as a death. However, why don't you talk about Ashley Babbitt? Was that political violence? That happened at January 6th. They always try to overlook Ashley Babbitt.
So again, this is why you have to break this stuff down. This is why you have to be very specific about what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, they absolutely did in that study. They absolutely counted that as right-wing political violence. And also the narrative that the left was pushing was like, oh my God, these officers died on January 6th, even though they didn't. Like, they all died of like unrelated causes, like the following few days afterward. So yeah, no, they shouldn't be counted.
Because when you deal in these kinds of vague generalities, you're just appealing to vibes, and that's not a compelling argument. I mean, it may be compelling to some people, but it's not logical, and therefore it's not in good faith.
It would appear as though I'm the only one here that is actually looking into the details of things, because you're citing studies, Brenton. There'll be silence while I'm speaking. There'll be silence in the court while I'm speaking.
You're not a judge, dude.
Brenton. There will be order in the court while I'm speaking.
It's Judge Jake from now on, Brenton. Okay,
there'll be order in my court.
No, it's fine. Okay? If he wants to go on a power trip, he can go on a power trip.
Brenton, there'll be order while I'm speaking. Okay, but it appears as though only one of us here is actually being thorough.
Yeah. See, look, I like that Jake is taking the piss out of him a little bit, because like, listen, if you're going to go on here and just straight up lie and just make up shit and gaslight, then yeah, there's no tolerance for you. Again, like, I don't even know why the lefties bother taking these debates about who causes more violence, left wing or right wing. because it's clear it's left wing. Like, I mean, the left wing, yeah, the left wing causes more violence. They're all about violence because, like I said, the logic in their heads is that they're fighting against oppression. They've been brainwashed into thinking that certain groups of people are being oppressed in this country, especially underneath the Donald Trump regime or administration, I should say. And so they see it as they're fighting oppression. Therefore, violence is justified in their eyes. So, of course, they're going to be pro-violence in that case. So it logically follows as well that they're going to be more pro-violence. It's just the reality that we live in. I don't know why they keep taking these debates, because it just forces them to lie and gaslight. And then we get pissed off and then we just start fucking with you because you're clearly just lying and gaslighting. You might as well just take debates about whether the sky is blue or not. And if you try to argue with us, no, it's not blue. It's like, well, why did you take this debate? You're going to have to come in this debate ready to lie your ass off.
Because I'm simply diving into your numbers here, Brenton. You're trying to tell me about all of these deaths. We're talking about deaths by political violence. Sure. When you talk about deaths by political violence, you are contriving a narrative. And we saw that at the start of the debate. Every single person here saw it. You had a different standard. And this is what happens with these studies. Every time people bring up these studies, they have a different standard for what constitutes left and right political violence. This has been exposed. I know it hurts, Brenton, when it gets exposed, but it's been exposed. It was exposed not only in your rhetoric, but also in these bullshit studies that you are citing. I know you're sad. That's why you're speaking. You don't want to let me. You don't want to let me speak. I don't want you to be sad. I prefer you to be happy. Okay, but seriously,
I am very happy. My friend.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
I love this shit.
Yeah, I love this shit. Yeah, the cope is strong with this one. So yeah, this is pretty much the rest of the debate. It's just Jake coming up with facts and trying to stay good faith, and Brent just excusing things and coming in bad faith. There's no helping people like Brent. But remember, he's not left wing. He claims he's not left wing. So now let me get to where they get to the super chat, where I super chat, and pretty much Brent proves my point when I ask a question.
No.
Why? Cool V1C.
Here we go. Here we go. Cool V1C. That's me. Let me write down that timestamp so I can know where to edit this out real quick. I could trim this down. All right. Let's see what Cool VE1C has to say.
This is questions for Brent. Why are you a soy boy beta? And how long have you had?
This is a meme at this point. I don't do soy because soy is like freaking McDonald's of dairy alternatives. I would say like the Vega protein powder if I'm trying to put on some muscle.
So I asked him, why is he a soy boy beta? I wanted to put, why is he a soy boy beta cuck? But I don't think Super Chats allows you to say cuck. So I decided to say soy boy beta. But he's actually answering it. Like if I'm asking, hey man, like, do you eat a lot of soy? No, asshole. I'm trying to insult you, you jackass.
That's what I go for because honestly, the whey stuff is kind of gross and I'm lactose intolerant.
Wow. Brenton found something even more soy than soy. He used pea protein. Cool.
Yeah,
V1C.
Way better amino acid profile.
Says question for Brent. Oh, they said, well, how long have you had TDS? Do you have Trump derangement syndrome?
No, I'm just a rational human being that sees a game show host with holes in his brain in command of the most powerful military apparatus the world has ever seen.
Marilyn.
So in other words, he has TDS. But he never answered my question. I said, how long has he had TDS for? I already knew he had TDS, but how long has he had it for? But it's so funny, like his answer completely proves my point. Like he refers to Trump as a game show host, like that's a lot of cope. Like clearly he was more than just a game show host. Like yeah, he was the host of The Apprentice, but he was famous before he was on The Apprentice. Like he accomplished already a lot before The Apprentice, but they like to try to demean him by just calling him, oh, he was just a game show host. Says he has holes in his brain and that he likes to deal with facts and like, and he likes to deal with facts and reality. And it's like, no, clearly not. Clearly you have TDS and you proved it with that answer. Tell me you have TDS without telling me you have TDS. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So TDS. Yes, exactly. Yeah, he has TDS. Yeah. Is that better than a man with holes in his brain that can't talk unless he gets meth injected in his ass cheeks and sniffs kids? Just wondering. I know, right? Yeah, he was a billionaire real estate mogul before that. You know, he was already a famous person. He's been famous for as long as I've been alive. Like, I think a little longer. Brain holes are better than smooth spots. A Buddhist with TDS, and he debates. Does he know what Buddhism is? Yeah, a Buddhism anarcho-communist. Like, what? Doesn't make any freaking sense at all. Clearly, this guy, this Mr. I don't have TDS and I'm not a lefty. I'm not a lefty and I don't have TDS. But meanwhile, look at my answer to if you ask me TDS. Clearly, I have TDS. I'm a Buddhist anarcho-communist. I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Yeah. So that was this guy. This was Brent. No hope for this dude. Clearly, he's a lefty in denial. Tries to lie and gaslight at every turn. So he's actually the perfect lefty. Great job by Jake here. What did you guys think about this? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this. If you want to see more debates like this, I have more playlists for you on the screen that I think you'll enjoy. Also, I'll have the original video down below. It is from Modern Day Debates. Go check out the full video. I'll have the link in the description and subscribe to their channel as well.